Hello everybody, hope you're doing well and welcome back to another video. In today's video I'm going to be going over my 23 of 2023. These were the 23 most anticipated reads of the year, and I planned to read them all, and each book was going to have its own like video review, and then at the end I was just going to see like how well I'd done with it. Spoiler, I haven't done that well at all actually, but I thought I'd still go through it and just re-show the books that I was going to read. You can check up the video in there where I actually talk about them all and why I want to read some of them, if that interests you at all. And I shall be making a new video, my 24 most anticipated reads of 2024, which should be coming out soon. Some of these that I haven't read are going to feature again, but there's also going to be some rejigging and some new ones as well. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. The first I had on there was Maya Angelou's I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. I haven't read this yet, but I need to read this because I need to read books by her because I love her. She is my like icon idol. Like, I love this woman so much, so I have to read it soon. Next was another non-fiction book, All the Young Men by Ruth Coker Burks. Once again, I need to read this book. I really want to learn more about queer history, and I am really like in this place in my brain and mind where I'm just really enjoying consuming queer literature and non-fiction, sort of, that is set around like the 80s and 90s, just because it was such a pivotal moment in like queer history, and this book I need to read soon, so yeah. Then next was Proud. This is a collection of stories, poetry and art on the theme of pride, compiled by Juno Dawson. Haven't read this, still really want to, but I haven't yet, so as you can tell, this is really not going very well. The next book I wanted to read was Bone by Yazideli Ward. It's a poetry collection. I did not read this either, but I did read The Terrible, which is her poetry memoir this year, and that was really good. I think I gave it 5 stars. I love that. So this is giving me such high hopes that I'm going to enjoy this as well. And I don't know why I haven't picked it up yet. For quite a lot of these, I think once I added it to that list, I think maybe I had too much of a high like expectation, and it made me fearful of reading them in case they didn't live up to it in some ways. But I don't know if that really was the case. Also, quite a lot of them was like faced that way up on the bookshelf because it didn't fit all of them in the little cubby that I planned to keep them all in. So I wasn't really seeing them as often. But yeah, I need to read this soon, and I don't know why I haven't yet, because I got this at Pride in 2022. So why haven't I read it yet? That's just so bad. But yeah. Then the next was Everyone in This Room Was Someday Be Dead by Emily Austen. Haven't read this. This just sounds so interesting. I cannot wait to read it. I don't know why I haven't yet, but I need to, so tell me to. But the next one is the first one I actually read, which was Pride by Leona Story. I really enjoyed this book. I gave it 4.5 stars. I rounded it down to 4 on Goodreads. This follows Lucy, and she has only recently came out as gay. And she's at Brighton Pride with her friend, and there is this severe like terrorist hate crime attack that takes place, and she's just thrown all sorts of ways. It has really, really impacted her. And she gets intertwined in this web of lies, and stuff just keeps spiraling and spiraling, and she's pushing away the people that love her and want to support her and help her get better. She also grapples with this idea of like queer shame, and how the world is still so like cis het normative, and sort of like trying to break down these barriers, and like the sort of like everyday like microaggressions that queer people still face in contemporary British society, and just like loads of different things. The writing isn't really the best. It's a little bit simplistic, and there is some errors as well, that I just feel like a couple more rounds of editing would have definitely helped it. But if you take that aside and you think about not necessarily the story per se, because there isn't that much to the story, but the characters and the messages and just understanding what is going on in Lucy's head, then it is exceptional. And I found so much like relatability with her, and like she deals a lot with bad mental health, and there's discussions on how to obtain help with it, and how recovery is very up and down. And yeah, I think if you're queer, you should definitely read this book, because there's so much like you can relate to and understand. And yeah, I just felt it was really good. And what Story does so well is that like she puts you inside Lucy's head, and like you feel things with her, and you sort of rationalize with her, even though these things that she's doing are totally irrational. But you're just so invested in her like brain and her character that you just can't help but not. But also I would recommend this that people that like have struggled with like their mental health. It may be a little bit true in some parts, but I think that at the end of the day it is a good portrayal, and I would definitely still really recommend this book. I'm so happy I read it, and I would love to read more by Leona Story. So that was the first review. That's what I'm going to do. If I've read the book, I'm going to review it in this video now, because I didn't do it separately. So yeah. Then the next book I wanted to read was Patsy by Nicola Dennis Benn. I haven't read this. I still really want to. I got this in Bristol when I went in 2022, and it just, every time I see it, I'm like, oh, it reminds me of when I went to Bristol. Like, I need to read this book, and it's so beautiful looking. But yeah, I just haven't picked it up yet, but I so need to. So yeah, this is really humbling, not gonna lie. I feel bad, but anyway, another one I haven't read is You Exist Too Much by Zaina Arbfat. I still haven't researched how to pronounce her name, which is just so bad. But no, I haven't read this. I really need to. I just don't know why I haven't, because the title is exquisite, the cover is beautiful, and the story just sounds super interesting. So I'm preventing myself from witnessing a story that I'm probably bound to love. So why haven't I read it yet? I do not know. But anyway, that was that. Then another one I haven't read was Everywhere You Don't Belong by Gabriel Bump. Don't know why. I need to. This has gotten a lot more darker, I think, than it was last year. Like the browning, I don't know how, because it was at the back. Like it wasn't even on show, which is a problem. But yeah, I don't know. But I love this cover. It's so pretty. I am terrible. Then the next book that I haven't read yet is Sorrow and Bliss by Meg Mason. I did say in the video that I was going to only read it when I'm in a good mental state, because I feel like it's gonna like deal a lot with being in a bad mental state. And I didn't have that many chances to over 2023, so I guess there's some leniency with that, but then at the same time not really, because I have read books about mental health. So I'm literally just like chatting, you know. So anyway, I didn't read that. But the next one I did read, and it was a book that I really enjoyed. It was The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I finally got around to it. I really enjoyed this book. I gave it 4.5 stars. I think I rounded up to 5 on Goodreads. Everybody seems to love this book. It has such a high Goodreads rating, and so many like 5-star ratings, and I think I did build it up too much to be like a masterpiece and a book I was like gonna cry and fall in absolute head over heels in love with. I didn't. It is very good, but I do still have still a few reservations, and I didn't like wholeheartedly adore it. I did, but I did still like it. If you don't really know the story, it follows Evelyn Hugo, and she asks this sort of unknown reporter Monique Grant to to write her biography, and by doing so she details her like time from like the 50s up until the present, and her rise to fame from poverty and a harsh life into being the like Hollywood darling. And she uses many tactics and her wits, but also her cunning to get the part she wants and make connections, and also have 7 husbands. And as the story is developing, you're following along Evelyn's story, but also there's times in the present where you're following Monique Grant. I think those are the bits that I kept on being taken out of the story a little bit, and I wasn't that interested. But at the end, it does sort of come together because there is another connection between the 2 women. But what I think I really applaud Jenkins Reid on in this book is that she doesn't leave one of the main plot twisty sort of parts to the end. It happens about the first third, and it's not really a spoiler because I feel like a lot of people know that it is queer as well, but the real love of Evelyn's life, despite having 7 husbands, is actually a woman. And I think by doing it earlier on, she really gets to explain and explore what it was like for queer people in the 50s up until the present day. And it's very like bittersweet and sad because she's in herself, she's unapologetically bi, and she's very happy with that, but with all this fame and money, she still can't express her love for women and men publicly, and it's just very upsetting. There is some like nice bits when she's like with Celia, and also her best friend Harry, who was just he was a really good character until something that I didn't particularly like, but that's what I'm gonna say. It's and I think that was very good because you really get to see what it was like. I think the writing is a little bit simplistic at times. I didn't particularly like the domestic abuse storyline, and the way some of the other characters was portrayed. So yeah, so I do have a few flaws, but on the whole it is a very good book, and I am happy to recommend it. I did really enjoy it, and it is one I would like to reread because I feel like I can get more out of it. But yeah, I'm happy I read this one. Next is another book I didn't read. At Certain Points We Touch by Lauren John Joseph. This book I also got at Pride in 2022, and I just wanted to read it so bad. As soon as I picked it up, I was like, I need this in me. Like I wanted to read it like then and there, but I still haven't picked it up. I don't know why, because this cover is beautiful, the title is beautiful, it just sounds amazing. Why am I not doing it? Why am I not reading it? But maybe next year. There's a little sneak peek. And then the next one is Pachinko by Min Jin Lee. I really want to read this, but I feel like what's been putting me off is that it is very fat. But at the same time, I need to stop just reading small books. I need to read books that are a bit more meatier and that do take a long time because there's a lot to explore. Yeah, I just haven't really picked this up. But I do still really want to read it, and yeah, soon, hopefully. And then the next is another fat book that I haven't read yet, is The Heart of Invisible Furies by John Boyne. I really, really want to read this so bad. I just haven't. Story of this video. Then another one is The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. Haven't read it yet. Sounds so interesting, and I really need to read more books about like race and like diversifying and exploring more about that topic, but I haven't picked it up, and I'm upset with myself. I'm really upset with myself, but hopefully soon. And similarly, this Shaggy Bane by Douglas Stewart. I was re-going over some of my like vlogs from last year, just like watching them again because I wanted to see myself. No, I'm joking. I don't know. I just wanted to just see them. And I remember when I got this in a charity shop, I found it for £1. I was so like ecstatic, and I was like, oh my god, I'm super excited. This is going to be like my next read. But I haven't picked it up yet. I don't know why. It is big, but like, I just want to read it. I really want to know the story, and so many people love it, and it makes them cry. And yeah, I need to read this. Bad jokes. Then the next one is one that I am still very intrigued to read, but it is sort of dropped off points. It's Hamnet by Maggie O'Farrell. It sounds still really interesting, but I'm just a little bit less interested in the story at the moment, so yeah. Then the next is An Excess Mail by Maggie Shen King. Once again, I don't know why I haven't read this. It's also a super lovely floppy edition, and like, it's just sacrilege that I haven't read this lovely floppy book yet. Like, it's wrong that I'm letting it gather dust when it's so lovely and floppy. And the story also sounds really, really interesting, and the cover's really nice as well. But soon, maybe, I don't know. Then the next is The Power by Naomi Alderman. I don't know why I haven't read this. It sounds really interesting. I really want to read this so I can watch the show. That just looks super interesting, and I love Toni Collette. But I was like, no, I want to read the book first. I want to be one of those people. And I had so many opportunities to, but I just didn't pick it up. And it's blurbed by Margaret Atwood, and I love Margaret Atwood, so why haven't I read it yet? I don't know why, but yeah. Then the next one is book I haven't read yet, and I don't know why, because I need to, is Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. Last time I showed this, I had like a compendium book that had multiple stories by him, but I since have gotten this really, like, I love this edition. I just think it's so beautiful. This Signature Classics American edition by Union Square & Co. New York, if you want to know what this one is, by the way. And I just haven't picked up. I don't know why. Also, I acquired this in a charity shop. It's called The Uncensored Picture of Dorian Gray, and this has like the bits that were taken out of the standard edition, the more like risque and like very, very queer, I think, parts of the book. And yeah, I was going to like read them sort of together because I can't remember. I think this isn't the whole thing. I'm not 100% sure, but anyway, I need to read this book because so many people love it, and I'm getting FOMO. But yeah. But now we have a book that I did read. I only read it really, really recently, and I absolutely adored it. That is Heartstopper Volume 5. I got this on the day it came out. I reread Heartstopper Volumes 1 to 4, and then I read this, and after the one that broke me, which was Volume 4, this was really nice to pick me back up again, and just to see Nick and Charlie growing in their like relationship and thinking more about their future. And it was really, really nice to see Charlie like being healthier, and I was just so proud of him, and it was just really, really nice. But it's also a little bit bittersweet because, you know, they're moving on and they're moving away from us in some ways, and obviously there's only going to be one more volume next, which is a bit sad. But I love this. Give it 5 stars. I could never give the series anything less. I absolutely adore it, and I would 100% recommend giving this a read. And next is another one I read, thankfully. That is In the Absence of Men by Philippe Besson. I think I was always going to read this book this year, if it was on the list or not, because Lie With Me was the best book of 2022, and I just needed to read everything that this man has written, although I don't speak French, so I only have 2 options: Lie With Me again, which I did reread, or this, which I'm going to reread soon. But anyway, this follows Vincent, and he is 16 in the year 1916, so the war is happening, and it's split into 3 books. I'm like, Besson, come on, how can you split this little dinky thing into books? But anyway, the first is a week in Vincent's life, and it tells about how he starts a friendship with this older writer, Marcel Proust. And they're in like the soirees and the salons of Paris, and it's in a time when like there are like practically no men about because they're all at the front fighting. It's only like the younger people and like the older people, and so they start a friendship, and also the Blanche, who is Vincent's family's like maid or like housekeeper woman, her son Arthur has come back from the front, and him and Vincent start like a sexual relationship for this week. And both of these 2 relationships Vincent has are clearly going to impact his life, even though they only like take place during this week. And then the second part is letters between Vincent and Marcel, and Vincent and Arthur whilst he's goes back to the front. And then the final part is this exquisite, beautiful section where Vincent and Blanche, who is very little known character within the rest of the book, are put in the same like space, and they have a conversation, and it is just really, really good. So yeah, so that's all I'm gonna say about the plot, because I really want you to read it. Once again, it is so clear that Besson must like do like so many rounds of editing, because the way he writes is just so razor sharp and brutal and raw and honest and beautiful, and it's so concise and uses so little words just to explain these profound things in life. And also like and I also have to give credit to the translator Frank Wynne for translating the nuance and the meaning of Besson's words. So yeah, I really enjoyed this book. It also talks somewhat about like what it is to grow up queer, and it's obviously focused on a further back in time period than Lie With Me was, but Lie With Me does explore it more so, and I still do prefer Lie With Me like a lot more, but this is definitely a really great book, and I gave it 5 stars, and I would 100% recommend giving it a read. So yep, definitely read this. And then finally, to cap off the 23, a book that I don't know how I haven't read it yet. How have I not read this yet? This is actually terrible, but it is Giovanni's Room by James Baldwin. What the actual? How have I not read this book yet? Because it is little. It is apparently beautiful. It is queer. It just sounds so amazing. I need this in my life. But hey ho, I haven't read it. But I hope I can read it soon. So yeah. In the end, I read 4 of my 23, which works out to about 16%, I think, which is very, very bad. Considering I've read 160 books already this year, and these were 23, that is a very small number compared to what I've actually read. So I should have read these, but I didn't. But you know what? I'm not going to be too hard on myself, and I'm just going to think positive about the new year and the 24 that I'm going to be anticipating for 2024, and hopefully I can get them read. It's not a competition, or it's not like a must do. It's more just like when at the end of the year I think about the books that I have and own, and the ones that are really enticing me and putting me forward, and they're the ones that I put on the list. So yeah, I don't know, and obviously my thoughts and feelings can change throughout the year, and that is perfectly valid. So it's not like I failed it really, because they just were anticipated. It's not like books I had to read. So yeah, but I'm still a little bit sad, but anywho, it doesn't really matter. And I'm gonna think positively going into the new year, and stay tuned for that video to come out soon. I did hope you enjoyed this video, and have a nice morning and night wherever you are in the world, and I shall see you very soon. Bye.